Welcome to Camille's Harem, a podcast by novice writers for novice writers, but also a YouTube channel, which is where we are now, on the YouTube. Hello. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite mangas, and this is kind of influenced by the Anime Man's poll that he put out lately about what your favorite manga is. You know, he's trying to like pull together everybody to kind of see the international anime community, and we thought it would be fun to kind of talk about what our choices were and why we chose them. If the poll is still live, make sure and go contribute. If not, don't worry about it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump in.
Jump right in it.
So my number 5 is the Twilight Princess manga. And the reason why I chose that one is that they do a really, really good job adding to the story, but still respecting the canon. They don't they don't take it too far into an extreme where they're making up a bunch of stuff, but at the same time, they're adding so much to the story. And it's a really, really hard balance to hit, but they do a phenomenal job and they deserve credit for that. So that's my choice.
All right. Yeah, and they really do. I love that manga, and I'm just sad that there isn't more of it to read as of right now.
Yeah.
But my number 5 is The Ancient Magus' Bride. And I have this one in my top 5 because I love the way that the story's going. I think it's a refreshing take on Beauty and the Beast, which might not seem like it's like there's much that you can do with that, but I really love that the story's taking its time showing that in this case the Beast character, Elias Elias, I call him Elias personally, that he is a monster that takes a lot of time to change and to reform. But aside from that, I really enjoy the artistic style. I think that setting it in the English countryside is a great place, a great setting. The animation is beautiful, and such serious animation is also blended in really well with lots of humorous panels that really complement the story as it goes on. So that's why I have it in my top 5.
Nice.
That's on my top 5 to read and watch.
Yeah. I need to finish watching it.
Do it.
At the very least, I need to finish watching it.
Okay. Well, mine is technically a webtoon.
Which counts.
Yes,
web counts or web counts.
Web
tunes.
counts.
Web counts tunes with the poll. Isn't that great?
I feel like with mine, I feel a little underqualified to even put anything in this list because I have not read a lot of things manga related. But for the sake of this episode, I would say my top 5 purely for the visuals is a webtoon. I gotta double check. It's got a long title. Okay, where'd it go? It's gone. I'm currently on my phone. Is the webtoon My Dear Cold-Blooded King. And honestly, it's not something I would normally read just because I hate love triangles, and this one is pretty notorious for that, and it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's kind of a guilty pleasure, and the guys are really attractive in it, so...
It's like my nisekoi.
Sure.
It's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but...
It's trash, and I know it's trash, but I love it.
It's just, trash I really like, but it's also just one of the most, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing things I've ever read, so that's why it's my top 5.
I like it. So my next one is Imperfect Girl, because I gotta put a Nisio scene, something or other on this list. And frankly, I could not give it to the Bakemono manga because I just don't feel like it gives the books or the anime justice. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I love the self-aware the meta-ness of... Is that a word? Meta-ness? Meta?
Yeah, we'll make it a word.
Okay, we'll say it is.
Now a freshly minted English word, and also French.
I like it, fresh off the press. But it just the way it does that meta, and the way it kind of it shows it as humor at first, but then makes it very serious. And it's kind of it's a comical mystery, which I really, really loved about it. And if you know anything about Nisio Isin, there's a lot of callbacks to his other works in there as well. And that just gave me a big ol' happy, juicy,
moist,
hard on. It made me wet.
Gross.
It whets my appetite.
Tasty.
The triple X version of Camille's Harem After Dark.
After hours.
Oh.
So yeah, that's my number 4.
All right. Well, my number 4 has got to be Full Metal Alchemist. And my reason for this is, I mean, a lot of people definitely have Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood ranked as their top tier anime of all time. But what's really surprising is when you go into the manga itself. The manga is, once again, it's really well illustrated, but the story is just so rich.
So
and one of the things I particularly enjoyed was getting more about the Ishvalan War. And that was something that really interested me as I was reading through it. I don't have it then as high as I would rank the anime, just because I think the anime was able to capture the heart a little bit better than the manga did. So that's the reason why it's number 4 on my list.
Okay.
Dang, that's quite a feat because the anime is just really good.
10 out of 10.
Oh, so good.
Oh my god, 11 out of 10.
Yeah. Ooh,
Let's be honest here.
let's be honest.
It's a gold star. 5 gold stars, not just 5
A
stars.
gold noodle. Okay, well, my number 4 is another webtoon. Am I the only one that reads webtoons?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I read some, but they're just not in my top 5.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Mine is another one that is a lot more lighthearted. It's called Let's Play, and I like that one because it is so like, it's not necessarily meta, and it doesn't. It's almost.
Is it like
meta.
referential rather than
Yes.
meta?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's so very like it very ties in a lot of like pop culture things, which at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I would like this, like if I read this again in 5 years, how would I like it, sort of thing. But actually, as I've read more into the story, I've felt like it actually becomes so relatable, and just that the references that are made in the story itself, they actually kind of give it a whole like different tone, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I think overall, like it kind of takes some getting used to read, and it kind of takes some getting used to see that like pop up all the time. And if you're not as well versed with memes like I am personally, you might be like, what the hell am I reading? But I actually think it really works. Like not every story can do that, but I think it does a good job at doing that. Number 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
Prima.
Nice.
Nice. I guess I'll jump into number 3 for me. Is The Girl from the Other Side. And this one, not gonna lie, the main reason is just the artwork. The artwork is incredible. The art style is amazing. The story is really good, and it's very, very mystical, very charming. If I had to describe the book in one word, it would be charming. It has like this almost like otherworldly like feel to it. It's very much, I really can't think of anything that just kind of feels different. It reminds me a lot of The Peripheral Girl, which she wrote. Mm-hmm. It kind of has a similar vibe, and I just really like it.
Wait,
And
what is this again?
The Girl from the Other Side.
That's probably like top 3 mangas I want to read.
That one is great. You should definitely check it out. It just sucks that it takes so long for them to come out with them because, well, frankly, it's okay because the artwork is great, but it's still a little frustrating.
In the meantime, while you're waiting for The Girl from the Other Side, you can read Peripheral Girl.
Yes. On Wattpad.
On Wattpad and Royal Road.
And Royal Road.
Royal
Yeah,
Road.
we'll have links to that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be neat.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So my number 3 is Bleach, and I've chosen this for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it's one reason why I've chosen is because this is a manga that I feel will largely be overlooked by a lot of people. For one, because it's ended. Number 2, it ended terribly. But that should not detract from my second reason for choosing it, which is that it had a great starting up story. And number 3, the artwork is incredible. At the very beginning of Kubo's career, as he was putting together Bleach, the characters have just wonderful expressions. The action is really good. And as he goes on, everything just becomes sharper and clearer. And by the end, I would argue that Bleach had probably the best drawn characters of any manga that I've ever seen. Is just so well done. Like the illustration just constantly got better. The story, not so much, which is why it's only number 3 for me.
Yeah.
Balls. This is where I have a hard time deciding. Because I like these ones for different reasons.
So at this point, it's not necessarily 1, 2, and 3. It's just 3 of your tops.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Because my top two are kind of not so much interchangeable, but I love them both for different reasons.
Exactly. Like, I love these 3 mangas for very different reasons.
Yeah. And frankly, that's probably true about my whole top 5 list. But
Yeah. So, I mean, and this is going to get brought up. Well, why don't we just talk about it then? Because I was going to say, for my next spot, I was going to say My Hero.
Yeah.
But I know it's in your guys' as well.
Yeah, so I might as well just say this. My Hero is my number 2 spot, which is what I was going to bring up anyway. Next. Yeah, so you go ahead and just tell us why you love it.
I mean, beyond, like, the great storytelling that goes with it, the characters, for me, are, like, just so... There's so many lovable characters in My Hero.
Yeah.
And good characters really make a good story. So that's probably the reason why I like it so much. I mean, beyond, like, yeah, it's a great plot, good artwork, all that good stuff, but really, for me, it comes down to the characters.
Yeah. My number 2, My Hero Academia. My reasoning as to why I love it so much is simple. Yaoyorozu. What else do I need?
Best girl!
No, but seriously, like you're saying, all the characters are so great. Even the characters you're not supposed to like.
You like...
Yeah, like Endeavor. Like, you just see, especially in the newest chapters, you just, like, really see him come into his own almost. Like, really show why he is.
Why he do what he do.
Yeah, why he's in the position he is. Like, why he's such a well-respected hero. And, like, you want to hate him, but I honestly can't hate him. I mean, yeah, he's a terrible father, but he's a great hero,
Yeah.
And some may argue that, that makes him a terrible hero. But, frankly, it's just so good.
All right, so my number 2 is the manga Berserk. And, oh my gosh, I love reading this manga. The artwork is absolutely incredible. And it just captures just the tone that the story has. It's such a dark story of a man who's pitted against a fate that he just seems to be destined to succumb to. But he still just presses on despite just how incredibly crappy his life is and all of the stuff that he's gone through. And so it's just an absolute great story of a man struggling against destiny, which is something that you come across a lot with many Japanese stories. But I think that Berserk just really carries it home with just the weight that the story has, with the personal weight for the main character Guts, and that the artwork just captures that beautifully. And it is probably also one of the most gory manga out there, but as opposed to a lot where it's just like, oh, we're going to shock you with just how brutally gory it is, with just the amount of blood and guts. With Berserk, there's actually a wonderful art form to the fighting style and to just the insane amounts of blood that gets splattered all over the place. Like, you're in shock, but you're also in awe. You're enraptured by just how beautiful it is to watch a bunch of guys get decapitated in one swing. Like, it's bizarre, but it's so captivating. So those reasons are why it's my number 2.
Okay, fair.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Gosh. Why is this so hard?
That's what she said.
Thank you.
Don't worry, Camille. We know you can do hard things.
I would like to.
Excuse me?
Man, honestly, my top 2, the same problem. I'm gonna say they're interchangeable for different reasons again. And now I feel like this manga for me is like talking about, it's like what Bakemonogatari is for you. And that's One Punch Man! Yes. One Punch!
I mean, we were talking about Genos earlier,
Yeah.
so it was coming.
It was coming up. I love this manga, and
You love this man.
I love this boy. I love my little cyborg boy. But I think the reason I like One Punch Man so much is because it's such a unique way of storytelling that is so normally would be so hard to pull off, but I think it just does it. Like, it just pulls it off so well. The author pulls it off so well because you can't have it's really difficult to have such an OP character as a main character, and you don't get to see this in the anime because there's only one season, but
Yet.
But reading the manga, you really get a sense of really what the overall struggle is, and you get so much more depth in the manga. And beyond that, I mean, it's just so well illustrated. not necessarily the comic is not, but the manga is.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a comic that was made into a manga that was made into an anime.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the original comic.
The original comic has like the worst
It's
illustration.
terrible.
Well, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the,
Yeah.
that author is known for his terrible.
Oh yeah, but it works. It works
so well.
It works so well. But the thing, whenever I tell people, like, if I am talking to people about One Punch, and they're like, "Yeah, I like the anime. It was funny or whatever," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, you're totally right." But at the same time, like, you're wrong. So sit down while I educate you on why it's so good. Because I
really want to be there for one of these education sessions. Because I just want to see Camille just like cut loose.
Yeah. So like, and that's like the thing that you can see it at a surface level of like it's funny. It's just a really funny story. But then it's so much deeper than that you can appreciate it for beyond that. You can look at it with two different layers, I guess. So I just think it is a very unique story that you don't see very often, but it's just pulled off with like such good finesse, and it's just got one of the best boys I've ever seen.
That best boy Genos.
Tasty.
Genos.
Delectable.
Easy breezy Genos.
Easy
Genos
breezy
boy.
Beautiful Genos boy.
Genos boy.
Genos boy.
Okay, so I guess that loops back around to me. So my number one is Noragami. Oh boy, where do I start? What a beautiful... the artwork is amazing. The story is amazing. The characters are freaking great. All of them. Every single one of them. And this probably wouldn't have been on my list 2 months ago. But now that the hiatus is over and they're starting to release chapters again, the story has just been like skyrocketing in... not quality. Like, it's always had quality storytelling, but like, it's about to hit the fan, and I love it.
Hit it so right.
There's just so much fans covered in feces in this show. Like, there's I love it. I love it. Like, that's it. That's my reasoning. It's great, and everybody needs to read it.
That's also my list, especially before season 3 shows up. Hopefully
season 3 comes around, because I want it, need it, gotta have it.
So my number one is My Hero Academia.
Surprise!
And I'm not saying that because I'm riding the hype train that the series has been getting, especially as of late. But the reasons why I place this as my number one favorite manga is that I love how it has taken superheroes and has made them fresh, engaging, and new. Like, you would think that after the MCU and DC on the side have had their way with superheroes, that you couldn't do something fresh, and like that, and that you would be, and that you would have to go to something like One Punch Man, which is awesome, but that it would just basically then be parodies. However, My Hero Academia does something amazing where it goes into the nuances of what it means to be a hero, and with each arc, you have Deku learning a new aspect of heroism, going deeper and deeper into what it means to be All Might, essentially. All Might has stood as this pillar of what it means to be a hero, of self-sacrificing, of bringing courage and happiness to the world, being someone who has walked a very dark path, but doesn't stay in the shadow like a brooding Batman kind of person. Where he's been able to somehow rise above it all to become a great hero. And that means that there's so many layers to what the best hero should be like, and we get to explore that with each arc, which I think is a really great way of doing it, rather than saying, huzzah, here's what a hero is, and there you go, message delivered, now let's go and have some action. So each arc, there's a great message blended in with the action. And as far as the action goes, My Hero Academia, in my opinion, is not very well illustrated. Of the five that I have in my top 5, it is the least well illustrated, in my opinion. But I think it works brilliantly for the story that's being told, because you kind of need something a little bit more, maybe abstract, a little more
almost gritty.
Gritty
not
and a little
gritty.
Not gritty. Here, I guess a better word is messy.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, for instance, one of the more recent arcs, Deku versus Gentle. Mm-hmm. That fight is awesome, but if you look at it, it's kind of messy.
Yeah.
The way it works, but it works so well for a fast-paced battle, for fights with ridiculous quirks. It the style works well with the story. So I really am not chafed whatsoever that the quality of illustration is not on the level of like Berserk or Bleach, because it just complements the story very well. And that's something that I think is hard to hit for a mangaka, balancing good storytelling with with an art style that complements that story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Agreed.
That's my spiel right there.
All right.
Bless.
Take us home, Camille.
Okay. Oh, I love this manga. Okay, my I shouldn't say favorite because it ties pretty close to One Punch, but that would be Yona the Dawn, which is just so like yum, yum, yum.
What beautiful boys.
Us, too many beautiful boys. But
And Yona's pretty beautiful too.
she's beautiful. Totally have a girl crush on her. Honestly,
Fun
like,
fact, she's voiced by the same person as Senju Kahara, and I'm all over that. Give me some more.
give me that good shit. So the reason, okay, I don't even know where to. I honestly, I could talk about this for days. And I'm not going to talk about the anime because the anime is only one season as well. We talked about this earlier today, but I there's just something about the story. Like, I read the manga because I had watched the anime, and I just like came across it by chance on Hulu, and I was like, oh, I honestly I saw Hawk on the cover, and I was
And
like,
you could not press play fast enough.
yeah, I was like, holy crap, that is a beautiful boy, I gotta play it. And I was like, please let him be the love interest, and I was right. So, and I liked the story, and so I was like, man, there's only one season, I'll start reading the manga, and it just, it's just, I can't even put it into words. I love the character arc of especially, like, the character arcs of many of the characters, but especially Yona. Like, it's just one of my favorite character arcs that I have ever read, especially as a female character. It is so, like, you get to see her grow and, like, cheer her on, even though she makes mistakes and she's still a kid. Like, just the changes that you see her go through and the progress that she makes as, like, coming from this really spoiled lifestyle to losing absolutely everything to making her life, like, the best it can be with what she's given, and, like, moving past that is just so fun to watch and read, just because you just want her, you root for her. And even though she's a kid and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want my ship, I need my OTP to get together like yesterday, and you're still
or like 3 years ago.
yeah, like, and you're just so frustrated over some things. Like, it's just, she is just such a well done character, and I think after reading it, it just, I don't know, like, that story just kind of holds, like, a little special place in my heart. And
A little tender spot.
yeah, like, so tender. Like, I just want to put you in a box and keep you safe because you're just so cute. So, yeah, that's, I love that manga.
Yeah, so I haven't read it, but I've seen the anime. And one thing that I love about the anime is that it's very much, it feels a lot like the closest thing we can get to, like, a Fire Emblem anime.
Yeah.
Because, like, it has a very similar, like, Fire Emblem, like, feel to it, and I freaking love Fire Emblem.
And I want to throw this out there, since I've been talking about, like, the illustration style and everything. I am a fan of Escaflowne, and which is, like, good quality, old school high fantasy anime. And while Yona the Dawn thankfully omits the weird pointy noses that's in Escaflowne, both the manga and the anime have a very similar way of capturing through the art this feeling that this is a high adventure story. Yona the Dawn doesn't really have the kind of same tier of magic as Escaflowne does, but it doesn't really matter because you're just caught up in just this gorgeous adventure that you just kind of want to jump through the pages or jump through the screen to get into, because it just looks so fantastic.
Right. Another thing that I really like about it is, like, on first glance, they're like, oh, this is going to be just your typical, like, dumb romance, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, it's so much more than that. And you see, like, as the story progresses, it just becomes so much bigger. And that, because there's all this, like, military stuff, and just the world building itself is just delectable. And so it was a pleasant surprise, like, reading it. I was like, wow, this is so much more than I expected it to be. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10Z.
11 out of 10 for Hawk alone.
Gold star on that one. Perfect.
So we encourage you guys to go check out the poll and submit your top 5 mangas. That way we can have a help create the definitive list of what are the top 100 manga worldwide.
I love it. Well,
A little bit.
this has been Camille's Harem.
That me.
Bye.
Bye, Mom.
Choose.
Don't you say it.
I wasn't going to say bye, Mom.
I will seriously stick a...
No, he just did.
I said bye. That's what I always say.
That is a big fat lie, and you know it.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
Don't take this away from me. It's my thing. Goodbye, Mom.